Welcome back to the channel today, guys, and man, did the studio do a good job of capturing just how brutal and harsh this scene is. It's crazy. They did an excellent job of capturing just the downward spiral we see Akane go through in this episode. It's depressing, but it's real. And they did such a great job of just capturing the hopelessness that she feels in a situation like this, as we unveil the true dark side of the entertainment industry today. And all I gotta say, guys, is that fandoms can be very, very toxic. You guys know that. You've been on Twitter before. But man, let's just get straight into it today and talk about Oshi no Ko episode 6 today, because it's going to be a more serious episode, so buckle up. So our episode today begins immediately with us seeing the manipulation tactics that these companies use to lure people into their series. As we see that Sumi on the show has this big ordeal where she feels like she needs to leave the show because of circumstances in her life. But as we peel the layers back, we see that they were just playing it up for the camera. As we see Akane asks her, "So, are you really gonna quit the show?" And it's here Sumi tells her flat out what these companies do to actors to sell their shows. As she tells her, "What? No, I signed a contract. I can't quit yet. I was just playing up my feelings is all." As she tells her, "It's true that this is how I'm really feeling right now, but I'm just playing it up for the camera. I'm exaggerating, if you will." Now, these companies, guys, they prey on the actors' emotions. They don't maliciously bully them, but they put them in situations to where they know their emotions are going to come out and hit a breaking point. They don't instigate stuff, but they don't stop anything either. And you'll notice that later in our episode. And as we see Akane dutifully writing down notes because she's such a hard worker, we hear Aqua say, "After spending time together on the show and seeing the cast open up more, I have a good sense of everyone's personalities now. Those who are skillful, those who are not two-faced yet are still distinctive, those who don't come across well on TV and get little screen time. And then there's Aqua, who is none of the above." And it's here as we transition to the cast going out to eat with each other at the end of a shooting day. On Memcho's dime, of course. Yo, poor Memcho. That shit is expensive. Poor Memcho. We see that Akane is actually grilling meat for everybody because she herself is a vegetarian. As Aqua tells her, "Look, I'll grill my own meat. You don't need to worry about me. You haven't eaten at all yourself." As she tells him, "It's my policy to never give up the tongs when I'm at a place like this." I know a lot of people like that. As she says, "At first, I got yelled at because I'd always burn the meat. But I've gotten pretty good at grilling, if I say so myself." As Aqua can just look at her and say, "Man, this girl is so earnest. It's a breath of fresh air." And this scene is supposed to showcase that no matter what she does, no matter how insignificant it is, Akane gives her all in it, 110% in everything. She is the definition of a hard worker and is unbelievably straightforward and earnest. But it's here we see that earnest and hardworking might not be what an audience wants to see. As we transition to another day of filming, as they're filming this fireworks scene, as we hear, after this scene, the pairing of Yuki Sumi and Nobuyuki Kamino took center stage in the show. They had Kengo look on with envy, and so a love triangle centered on Yuki took shape. Yuki functioned as something of a playmaker, and her seductress air livened up the show, which garnered it popularity mainly among middle and high schoolers. Again, they're playing up the animosity between the actors and painting a picture for the audience who just eat it up without thinking about it. And it's here as we transition to after another day of filming, we just hear Akatan You're okay with not joining the struggle for Yuki's affection? If you want to be popular, you'd be better off going for her rather than hanging with me. As Aqua tells Memcho, I'm fine like this. I'll just play things safe until the show ends. As he asks her, what about you? You're not going to enter the mix? As she tells him, well, if I can keep my role as the show's airhead, comforting personality, then that's fine with me. Besides, my goal was to draw viewers over to my channel, and it's worked like a charm. But if you were to show some real romantic interest in me, it might be a different story. Hint, hint. As Aqua just flat out tells her, don't get your hopes up. But it's here as she changes the subject after this. We get a little more serious, as Memcho says. Instead of worrying about us, I worry about Akane. And it's here we see the incredible hard work and dedication Akane puts into everything. This girl truly is the definition of a hard worker. She puts her all into everything. But sometimes, unfortunately, that's not enough. Because it's here as we transition to our next scene. One night, we hear Akane overhear an argument as we hear, "You trying to get your ass fired?" I checked out that reality show Akane's in after hearing it's popular. But what the hell? She hasn't gotten 10 minutes of screen time in total. She's been given this chance, and yet she's not standing out at all. If you don't have your act together as her manager, where's that leave us? And as her manager is trying to tell him that Akane's trying her best, he tells him flat out, trying doesn't pay the bills. I chose her out of a heap of people who wanted this chance. You better make sure she at least leaves her mark on this show before we're done. And as her manager walks out, all she can get out in this moment is, I'm sorry. As he tells her, I know you're giving it your all. Don't worry about that. Rest assured, I'll act as your shield. But after he leaves, being the kind of person she is, Akane breaks down into tears, saying, I've got to work hard and leave my mark, no matter what. But it's here as we transition to our next scene. It's time to talk about ego surfing, which is the name of the episode, by the way. As we see Kana catches Ruby ego surfing herself after their latest live stream with Peon. Quite funnily, I might add. As she explains to her that we're in the great era of ego surfing. Even without being an ad agency, you can access big data and check impressions and customer analytics. Online ad spending has caught up with offline spending, and it's said to be a 2 trillion yen market. As she tells Ruby, the age of being told to dismiss the response online is over. Nowadays, we have a society where those who neglect online marketing get left behind. Fans are the content they consume. They're in a state of mutual surveillance. And in showbiz, we ourselves are the content. She's basically telling Ruby, look, fans are online 24/7 looking for the scoop on us, the content. So whatever we do, we have to be vigilant about what we say, what we do, and how we present ourselves, because the whole world will know in a matter of minutes whatever we do. But she gives her a warning at the end and says, remember, we can't forget that if you gaze long enough into the abyss will gaze back at you. Meaning that you can't be consumed by everything you see online. You can't let it affect you and your mentality. As we see that Akane is doing just that right now, reading her own comments about the show. And it's here as we transition to our next scene, the next day of filming. We see that Akane makes her move, as she's doing everything she can think of to try to stand out in a way, to try to make her mark on the show, and to help the people that put her into this position to not be screamed at for her being useless, basically. As we see everyone online just continuously tearing into her. As Akane asks herself, what should I do to stand out? Play the part of the bad girl and steal Nobu away from Yuki? As we see the people behind the scenes of the show saying, yeah, if you do that, you'll be seen as distinctive and you will undoubtedly stand out, egging her on more and more. As we see Akane try to get even bolder here. And it's here as we transition to our next scene, as we see Yumi actually helping Akane with her nails. It's just the two of them. She asks her, have you been feeling anxious lately, Akane? As Akane just tells her flat out, I just want to stand out somehow and leave my mark. As Sumi tells her flat out, I see. But that said, I won't let you. As she tells her, I'm going to fight to see that I stand out. Don't hold it against me, okay? And it's here we see that the audience of the show is loving Sumi, but no one has anything to say about Akane. And it's here we even see that Sumi starts stealing her interactions with other people on the show, really giving Akane nothing so she can stand out even more. And even after seeing all this, Akane still doesn't give up, saying to herself that, I have to keep doing this. It's not just for my sake. It's for those who are counting on me as well. And it's here she's trying to catch back up to them and stand back out in any way she can. We see that all of a sudden, in her emotional outburst, she actually cuts Sumi across the face with her nails. And I have to remind you guys, this scene was on television. This was live right here. Everyone caught that. And it's in this moment that Akane just starts breaking down emotionally right here. As Sumi actually hugs her and says, it's all right, calm down. As she tells her, look, I get it. You got flustered. I know you're a hard worker. I know you didn't mean to do anything like that. As she tells Akane, look, they can just fix this stuff in Photoshop. It's not going to affect my work, okay? But nonetheless, she has to ask her in this moment, do you hate me, Akane? As Akane tells her, no, I don't hate you at all. I like you. As Sumi tells her, you know, I like you too. You're a hard worker who tries her very best. As Sumi tells her, I'm not mad, okay? They're not even filming right now. There's no point in acting. I'm being serious. As we see these two embrace and actually make up with each other. And here's the big plot twist for you guys. Nobody hates each other on this show. Everyone on this show is in friendly terms with each other. They're all legitimately friends. There is no animosity between them at all. The show just plays it up to the extreme. They all like each other. They are friends. But it's here we see that reality is a much harsher place than that. As Aqua says, if this had been school, it would have been one of those everyday things where the parties quickly make up after a little fight. But even if the people involved have already resolved the issue, people online sure as hell haven't. And it's here as we transition to our next scene, we see just how truly fucked up the internet can be. I want you guys to read some of these comments we're going to see in the second half of our episode. It's messed up. As Akane is taking the criticism saying, you know, I thought if I sincerely apologized, people would forgive me. You know, due to my contract for the show, I'm not allowed to talk about anything that wasn't shown on the TV. But if I explained myself as best I could and apologized, maybe we can sweep this under the rug. But that only acted as a cue. As she remembers Mencho telling her, you know, apologizing means you admit you did something bad, right? As she says, people say, oh, if you committed a wrong, it's okay if I cast stones at you, right? Apologizing is seen as the responsible thing to do by Japanese people, but it's the worst tactic at combating a storm of criticism online. And it's here we see the downward spiral begin. As Akane says, as best as I could, I looked over the criticism against me. As she just starts crying and says, when I closed my eyes, all I could think about was their harsh criticism. And this scene is harsh to watch, But I think the studio did an amazing job of just capturing the hopelessness, the despair that people feel from these comments, especially someone as earnest as Akane. As we see, even her own mom tries to ask her what's wrong multiple times, but she just plays it off again and again. And as the spiral continues to go down, we see Akane is actually working herself up to being sick from all the criticism she's getting by people that just don't understand. And this scene I'm about to talk about now legitimately pisses me the fuck off watching it, as we see just how hardworking Akane actually is. But we hear the people around her who don't know a fucking thing, as they say. You know, I've known her for a long time, and it's like she thinks she's different than those around her. I don't think she gives a single thought to the pains of others. I bet behind the scenes she fools around with guys and isn't serious about her job. She has her look on this face like, I'm the center of the world. She comes from a good family, right? I bet she's never had it hard in her life at all. No matter what she tries to do, it's futile. I doubt she has any friends. She can't get along with those around her, and her shallow nature is plain to see. She's always surrounded by guys, and the second something doesn't go her way, she gets hysterical, you know? She's never once put her heart and soul into doing something. It's honestly heartbreaking and all too real to see how bright she was then to how she is right now. It's legitimately heartbreaking. And as we see people laying into her more and more, and the company not doing anything to dissuade these rumors about her, in fact, maybe even egging them on, she's at her lowest of lows. As we see that people in the cast are trying to reach out to her, but it's far too late. She's at rock bottom. As we see that one day in the rain, she just decides to herself, I'm tired. I'm tired of thinking. I don't want to think about anything anymore. As we see, she gets up on the ledge of the bridge and attempt to kill herself right here. But at the last possible second, she gets saved by Aqua, who tells her, I'm not your enemy. And with that, on that very sad note, our episode ends. This episode was honestly kind of too real, guys, I have to admit. As someone who's known people that has committed suicide before, seeing them give out the suicide prevention hotline at the end of the episode really got to me, personally, because I know just how real this kind of shit is. And it's tough. No one should have to go through this. This is the true dark side of the entertainment industry, guys. People don't understand the pressures that get put on people. And how just people that are as earnest and hardworking as Akane can just get absolutely torn down and destroyed from comments like this. From thoughtless motherfuckers online who don't have a care in the world about what they say. It's honestly sickening, but it's all too real. Whew. Alright, though. I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode down below, because it is not a very bright episode, but one we needed to tackle and explore. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it down below. So until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. And I want you guys to remember that there's always people there for you, no matter what. This might sound cheesy and corny, but I'm serious. There are always people there for you. Even if you guys want to post in my comments how your day is going today or another day or something, I would be more than happy to do that and read that. You are not alone, okay? Never forget that. And I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.